Hey everybody, in today's video we're going to take a look at adding cues to our click track. So without wasting any further time, let's get at it.
All right, well, here we go today. We're going to take some time to add in some cues to our click track. If you're unfamiliar with cues or guides, these are just little wave files that can help kind of keep your place within a song. I'll include links to what I've used for the guides, and this video here will just be walking you through the process that I did for kind of mapping out a song and adding in the cues. First off, we'll start by adding a new audio track. Then we're going to go ahead and add in our first wave. This is our number one, if you will, in a count off, say, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see here within the audio track that because the file was labeled as 1, that's what the track was named. So I'm going to rename this track to cues. Now I'm going to take some time to go through and update the icon for this. Maybe you're not as picky as I am, but for me, it's kind of nice to be able to see on the left-hand side there the different icons for the different tracks that we're working with here. For cues, I'll tend to use the little microphone icon here. I'm also going to move this track up to towards the top here so that it'll follow right below the click and cues. And as you'll notice here too, I'm also going to pan my cues to the right. As when we begin working with our click track here, I'm going to be using a dual DI and basically splitting my click and cues and drums at a very low level to the right side and utilizing then the left side to kind of display the bass, guitars, and vocals. So you can see what I'm doing here is simply going through, adding in a count that's going to reflect a 1, 2, verse, 2, 3, 4, and then into the beginning of the song. I'm kind of working through the process here, trying to utilize the click beats that I have also. And so I'm dragging the cues down to kind of fit within the given beats. Just trying to make sure that everything is going to line up fine here. So you can see I've got my 3 count in, and then I'll be dropping in the 4 count here. And then what I'll be doing here is kind of running through a quick play. And you can see here that I think this might have been just a little bit too quick. Things were being cut off, and so I'm going to extend each of the cues out for the entirety of the beats, and we'll see how this works. Okay. So at this point here, I'm going to be working through mapping out the song, looking for different places in the song where maybe a pre-chorus comes in, or a chorus, or maybe it's just a verse 2. In this particular case here, I am going to be looking for the spot in the track where the pre-chorus comes in. You can see here I believe it's spot measure 9, beat 3, is where I'm noticing the pre-chorus. And so this entire process can be a little tedious, right? I mean, unless you've gone through and mapped out the song, that would be a piece of advice, right? I mean, make sure you understand the song, make sure you know where the cues should be coming into play. And then, of course, as you are putting those stems into Logic, you'll then have a better idea of where the breakpoints come in, or the cue should be introduced. Here I'm kind of moving my way through and trying to find the next break or cue, in which case here I believe this would be the chorus. And so I'm going to just go back, a couple bars, kind of play through and just make sure that my cue is lining up properly. And really, this is kind of the I guess it for adding cues. This piece here is a lot I don't know. It depends on how you look at it, right? But in terms of adding in cues, if you've got your song mapped out or you have a good understanding of how the song layout is, you should be able to just go through, find your spots, add in your respective cues, and it'll take a little bit of time to get everything lined up. And of course, you want to make sure that everything is flowing properly in the song in terms of your click, the tracks, and the cues as well. So there'll be a little bit of time invested into figuring out where the cues need to go. But in terms of complexity, yeah, this is nothing more than just creating another audio track and adding each of the cues in. So I'm going to fast forward through this entire process here. You can kind of see basically I'm stopping at each given point and placing in what I feel needs to be put in. For me as a musician, I've played obviously behind a drum kit here. I've also played bass, acoustic guitar, electric guitar. I've led worship as well. And so being able to have the cues from the point of view of whatever respective instrument you're playing can be helpful. I know there are some that will maybe add in extra cues for a drum fill or extra cues for a dropout or that type of thing. For me, I have a decent feel for these songs that I'll be kind of queuing up or putting into tracks to the point where I just want the big hitter pieces, right? I want to be able to know, do I have a turnaround? Do I have a verse coming up? Is there a pre-chorus? Where's my chorus? Am I going to repeat a chorus again? So I'll try to get those bigger hitter spots. And you can see here in this particular spot, I'm actually going through and doing a count into the chorus. And so there are a variety of ways to do the cue setup, and it's really down to how you, as either a worship leader or maybe somebody who's just creating, a cover video or something like that. It's really your personal preference and how you want to see fit for being able to create your cues. Obviously, simpler is better in terms of being able to work with an entire team. I know that there are certainly teams that are out there or bands in general who have never, used a click track or used guides. And so to them, this may all be new. And it can be a struggle. It really can be, but with a little bit of time, effort, practice, these can definitely be huge aids in being able to keep your band tight and together. So that would be my encouragement to you is, initially keep it simple from the standpoint of being able to just get this out there, all right? Maybe a first step is to just simply work with the click to begin with. I know for me as a musician, it was a struggle initially to work with a click. It was even more of a struggle as a drummer when I was the only one on the click and everybody else was trying to follow me. You can really see the battle that lies, right? And that lies within when trying to follow a click yourself and then having the band try to rely on you as their metronome instead of being able to, also follow along to that click track. So, lots of lessons lived and learned here. For the purposes of this video, I'm really just trying to put together a click track, one for me to be able to say I did it, and two, I'm actually going to use this click track for a drum cover video where I'm going to be playing drums, and I don't necessarily want the drums from the original recording to be bleeding through. For me, I want to be able to play the drums, be able to hear myself, critique myself, and just use it as a learning tool as well. So, enjoy the rest of this video. As I mentioned, I'm going to kind of speed through it a little bit here, just for the purposes of just getting to the end. But this process of adding cues can be very tedious, time-consuming, but I think it's definitely worth it in the long run if it's done properly. So, with that, thanks for your time. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and be looking forward to a drum cover for Cutlass's version of this song here. So take care. Bye bye.